legislators to pass something in this regard.
We are. And look, I want to reemphasize everybody. My colleagues you see here, we have these conversations. We have them in a way where we only want to solve the issue. You see, everybody who either doesn't row or row in different ways can't yield the best result to solve problems. So I believe that there has to be enough inertia and undergirding of team to move this issue. So Glock switches, that was her question. This is not the first legislative session this issue has been talked about. But let me tell you the consequences and what happens yearly if every time it comes up it fails, which it has failed a few times. The situation is getting worse. Glock switches used to be in a situation where they were used with semi-automatic weapons. Now you find people putting them on assault weapons. Glock switches used to be a situation where an officer or anyone could detect that conversion device visibly on the exterior of that gun. And now you can literally put it inside where you wouldn't know it was a conversion on there, but for a person pulling the trigger. May I see that cell phone, sir? It is worth stopping. No, the other one. It is worth stopping in the middle of this. And I'm not sure many people will be able to see this. But I sent this literally to Crystal Smitherman this morning. This officer that I'm about to show you has it's probably 9mm. 17 rounds in this clip, everybody. He pulled his trigger one time and all 17 rounds unload in a matter of a few seconds. Well less than 5, maybe max 3. He lost the clip again, a new one. I want you all to imagine that. I want you all to imagine that for automatic weapons, where they are more bullets in the clip. This mass shooting had over 100 rounds. I don't know the exact number there, and forgive me for not knowing that, but I do know it was over 100. Now I want you to imagine a situation where it's not just gone from semi-automatic weapons to assault weapons. I don't want you to imagine just it's one person with one conversion. I want you to imagine multiple people. That is what we are being asked to solve. We can't solve it alone, and BPD can't solve it alone. That is not pointing a finger. That is literally publicly saying we would like to work with the state to help us solve this problem. We want the state to be our partner in this, and we believe not just this, but Dadeville, not just Dadeville, but in other cities in the state of Alabama, this continues to happen. This continues to happen with the use of Glock switches and conversions.
You said during the meeting that we don't have the luxury to point fingers except at those that are pulling the trigger. Speaking of the legislature, there is an elected official that has said, how do you react to?
So it's just a whack statement, okay? W-A-C-K. It's a whack statement. Understand what that statement means. I got laughed at. I got laughed at by not necessarily one of your colleagues, but I got laughed at publicly. And I remember when there were a host of things that were recommended to the city council. One of them was this notion of citizens on patrol. And let me publicly admit, I fumbled the ball in how I presented that, because it's not what it means on its face. But let me tell you what a National Guard is. National Guard are civilians. We're not putting civilians on our streets to address this issue. Don't take my word for it. I doubt the governor has any notion or appetite to apply the Guard that way. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue from a budgetary standpoint to present to our public that we are hiring for police. We're going to continue to be overly aggressive at the local level from a marketing standpoint, from a word of mouth standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, to be dogmatic and overly aggressive in hiring police. We're going to continue to create additional opportunities and think outside the box and outside of the rules of the Jefferson County Personnel Board, because we can't just unilaterally hire. They have to approve our hiring ideas. So through partnership, being creative, it's part-time policing positions to add more officers. We're going to continue to work with our federal partners. We're going to continue to work with the state and state agencies. We're going to continue to work with the Jefferson County sheriffs. And we are going to be in a position to continue to enhance police presence, as well as show this community we mean business. But y'all, when a homicide occurs in any place in America, it requires evidence. About a 99% chance of that from an actual community member to have to come forward and share that information. So the police on a continuum can then go to a magistrate, go to a judge, to have a warrant, to then make an arrest, to then book that person in the county, in the city jail, to go back for grand jury, to then go before a circuit judge in front of people to have a trial, which would take up probably 2.5 years, and now it's over 3 years. So on the continuum, the whole process needs to be looked at, not just policing. But if we want people to come forward, if we want to protect community members and we want to protect witnesses, it can't be a situation where something that occurs in September 2024, the trial is not to September 2027. What would you do if you were the witness? What would you do if you were the witness? So on the whole continuum of our judicial system, of policing, of protecting witnesses, on encouraging community members to come forward, on charging uphill and fighting against this no snitching culture, and protecting witnesses, and every other thing we need to do, we're going to be overly committed to making sure we get it right.
With some legislators trying to say that the police shortage is what allowed an incident like this to happen, are you able to tell us how many officers were short? I understand there's an aggressive effort to hire more.
What I can tell you is this. I don't have the luxury to deflect. So let me be very clear in what's happening in culture. There used to be a situation where if I had an issue with you, it wasn't on site. It was, I catch you by yourself. So public spaces were protected. They were sacred. And you didn't do it around children, and you didn't do it around elder folk, and you didn't do it around family members, and you didn't do it in the general public. There's a full breakdown in the cultural aspects of community. I just want you to know that requires more than policing. So if I have an issue with you, it's where I see you. Except where I see you could be in the general public. And when I walk up to you, if I got this conversion on my gun, I may only want to shoot you, but this device and what it does, because this only talks about recoil more than I'll ever understand. But I saw her pull that. I saw her demonstrate as well. I saw all of her feet and her body go back. That was on a gun range. Now apply that to a general space. You pull the trigger one time, and in less than 5 seconds, with multiple people shooting over 100 bullets. We're in a position to beef up our police presence in our entertainment districts. We will do that. We show you better than we tell you. But prior to this mass shooting, 57%, almost 6 out of 10 homicides in our city in 2024, 32% of them being in homes, 29%, if my math is correct, I'm sorry, 25% of them being in vehicles. These are places where police can't be. These are places where police cannot be. Next question.
I was gonna say, Carol.
Crystal.
I'm
It's fraudian.
so sorry. She's a legend.
That's not the first time.
Your passion today is some of the strongest I've ever heard from a city councilor and covering the city council for 20 years. You said you're sick. Can you expand on your frustration?
My frustration is that we're going to lose people, right? So my frustration is that grandmas don't feel comfortable sitting on the porch anymore, that people don't feel comfortable going out to dinner anymore, that, you know, I'm getting calls from people in different cities from across the country asking me, are you okay? You know, I hear it in the nail salon, the hair shop, everywhere, people talking about crime. I'm sick of it because people feel so comfortable to commit crime. That's what I meant. That is so disrespectful to everybody that lives here. That's what I meant by telling Mayor Woodfin, stand on business, enforce it, take our city back, because there's no one that's going to come save Birmingham. We have to save our own selves.
Mayor, you spoke about a cultural problem. Can you further identify how you go about rectifying that issue?
Yeah, I start with something that people love to talk about. People love to talk about the first 48. Y'all remember that show and how Birmingham was one of the cities? I don't mean to be silly or flippant, so just bear with me. I'm trying to set it up to make a point. People think it was all on the detectives. You know, but they cut to a commercial or they cut to a different scene. What you don't see is that in order for the detectives to be in a position to bring that suspect in and then get that suspect to cave, like they always did on that show, some witness had to come forward. There had to be some crumb here, some piece of this here, some information here, people sharing. The process of tackling crime has to include community members bringing information to detectives to solve cases. People don't, let me not say that. Let me finish the point by saying, because this is your question is so important on the culture aspect. Some of the breakdown falls into either one of these categories. In this hand, there's this no snitching culture. It is deeply ingrained and is embedded. It does not exist only in the city limits of Birmingham. It's an American cultural problem, and it runs deeper in black community. But within that culture, people have information. People know who the shooters are. They know what happened. They have the detail. Hell, some of them even have video. They have all the credible information, and they refuse to share it. In this hand, which I know is more solvable, and this is the one we have to continue to be aggressive, equally aggressive, if not more. There are people that have information that are genuinely scared. If you take the situation where Major Turner, we offered a $25,000 reward for Major Turner, and it was probably over a year or right at a year before somebody came forward with information. It took them so long because they had genuine fear, and I understand that. I don't want to knock or just set aside someone's genuine fear, but here's what I say to the general public. If you have information and you're concerned about your life, if you're fearful, we have the available resources to protect you. We have the available resources to relocate you. It is our job to keep you safe, and we will. We will work with all of our partners, including the judge and the DA, of expediting that case so a witness doesn't have to be out here waiting 3 years for a trial, so that victim's family doesn't have to be waiting. Earlier, I said about my mom screamed May 27, 2012. It wasn't until February of 2014 before that person had the trial and the jury found him guilty. That was 10 years ago, y'all. In today's time, it takes more than 2 years to get to a point where you can have a jury trial for a murder. We need swift justice. We need swifter justice. And so in this cultural aspect piece, folks keep saying police need to do their job. We are ready. We are willing. Come off the information so we can. Stop giving safe harbor and protection to shooters and killers in the streets. What she feels sick about, part of this is people feel emboldened to do that. Well, yeah, if we can't make the arrest because we don't have enough information to put in front of a magistrate or a judge to make an arrest, or to walk it out, to put in front of a jury of 12, or even a step before that, enough information before a grand jury to actually indict. All of this is on a continuum. The policing is the first step, but that is literally attached to community members doing their part. So if Birmingham is going to get better, if Birmingham is going to move away from this bad culture, people got to know you just can't shoot people here because folk are going to talk. To the people who are afraid, come talk to us and we can show you better than I'm saying it on how we'll protect you.
Can you highlight the difference between any potential crime suppression unit and perhaps the efforts y'all highlighted recently with some of your federal partners back in August?
Again, I want to be very careful on how I navigate publicly my comments with our federal partners. What I can tell you is directly attached to crime suppression. That we don't have the luxury anymore to be reactive. I've just been given a mandate. So I'm going to walk it out. But I'm going to walk it out through partnership, acknowledging that we can do more together. Let me define more together. Birmingham Police, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, the state ALEA, FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, U.S. Attorney's Office, DA's office, our state elected officials, and everybody else who want to come on board, our faith community, everyday community members, the collective, we'll walk this out together. You about to say something?
Yeah, security cameras. Do you feel confident that there were enough security cameras in the area that may lead to the solving of this crime? Or do you have any update on how real-time crime center cameras may come into play in this case?
That is a really great question. What we can say is that we continue to build out our intelligence infrastructure. That includes license plate readers as well as additional cameras in the city. Our partnership with Alabama Power has allowed us to mount and put out more additional cameras throughout our city from a deployment standpoint. In addition to that, I want to publicly thank one of our U.S. senators, Katie Britt. Not only did she call yesterday and express her condolences and her commitment to helping the city of Birmingham, because she literally is committed to representing all Alabamians. So I want to publicly thank her for that. Again, setting aside any partisanship and just being on the ground, 10 toes down with us to solve this issue. Resources available. But let me tell you what she's already done. She helped us secure a DOJ grant for $4+ million that allows literally for more technology in support of our real-time crime center, in support of more cameras, in support of more things we can do as it relates to collecting shell casings and putting it in kniving and attaching it to are the same type of guns, the same gun, same person, etc. being used. All that combined, what I can say is this. Cameras in this area exist. Cameras throughout the city exist. We'll continue to expand on those. And I can tell you a lot of our success from the cases we have been able to solve this year have been because cameras attached to our real-time crime center. I got to get these two young ladies into the chamber before they beat me up. Just playing. Listen, I want to leave the general public with this. Our hearts are very heavy. We do not discount what's happened, and we don't take it lightly. If anything, it gives us a more resolve to solve this issue, address this issue. I want to remind you, the media, I want to remind the public what the priority is. It is to use every available resource to find the shooters, capture, arrest, and get them off our streets, and actually convict them. They have to be held accountable. To the general public, I tell you, if you are a family member, a friend, or a stranger, and you know these people, you are as responsible if you do not come off that information. You are as responsible. You are as responsible for the person or the people that pull the triggers. You are responsible for the innocent lives lost and the people who have been discharged and in critical condition in the hospital. You are as responsible if you're sitting on the information that leads to the capture and arrest. Do your part. We are prepared to do ours. We will continue to be aggressive in this open investigation, and we only want to find the killers right now. Everything else about more policing, securing our entertainment districts, working with the state, working with our federal partners, engaging in any other discourses we need to do on the prevention, reentry, we will continue to do. Thank you so much for your time.